Well, today we're going to be talking about the 3 pillars of public speaking, why you need each of them, or your speech or sermon will collapse. Well, when I was a kid in my house, we had this countertop that we had these wooden stools that we pulled up to. And me and my brothers, we would go and sit at this countertop a lot for meals or for breakfast or for lunch. And it was one of our favorite places to hang out. But like a lot of kids, I was a little bit energetic, a little bit mischievous, and I liked to break the rules and to do different things. I didn't want to just sit like everybody else sat at the countertop. I wanted to sit on my stool and lean back a little bit. And so I would sit at the countertop with my brothers, hanging out with my family, and I would just be leaning back and rocking in my stool back and forth and getting that thing back up on a couple legs. And my mom would always look at me and scold me, "Brandon, you need to stop doing that. You're going to fall and smash your head in," you know. And like most kids, I didn't listen to what my mom had to say. So one day I'm sitting at that countertop and I'm holding on to the countertop and I'm rolling around on that stool and I'm rocking back onto 2 legs and even over onto the side onto 1 leg. And all of a sudden, snap. One of the stool legs just broke. And I immediately crashed to the ground, land straight on my butt, bruise my tailbone. I'm in a lot of pain. I cry. My brothers laugh at me. My mom goes, "I told you not to do that," you know, and she makes sure I'm okay. And I learned a valuable lesson that day. Stools were made to stand on all of their legs. Well, public speaking and preaching is very similar. There are 3 legs, 3 pillars that all powerful and effective public speaking or preaching sits on top of. These pillars, I think it's easy to understand them in the form of like a question. The who, the what, and the how. So I want to warn you today that you need all 3 of these pillars, because if not, your preaching will fall flat on its back, just like I did off my stool. Well, years and years ago, the famous Greek philosopher Aristotle was a master of rhetoric, the art and study of persuasive speech. And Aristotle said that there are 3 parts of rhetoric. There's the ethos, the pathos, and the logos. But those are Greek words that are a little bit more hard for us to understand. So I like to think of it as the who, the what, and the how. The who, or as Aristotle would say, the ethos, is who you are, or the audience is thinking, who is speaking? They want to know, number 1, are you, the person speaking to them, credible? Are you a person who knows what you're speaking about? Are you a person of character, a person of integrity, a person that they look up to, a person that they can respect, a person that they can trust? And if you destroy your credibility, if you ruin your credibility, no one's going to pay attention to you. And so there's some people who have it easy when it comes to public speaking. They have celebrity or they have a reputation that precedes them that just makes them instantly credible. That's why you see professional athletes getting speaking gigs. It's not because they're the best public speakers out there all the time. They're just famous. And so because they're famous, people instantly go, "I watch that guy on TV. I watch that person perform in the Olympics. I like them. I trust them. I want to listen to what they have to say." Their who, their character, their credibility precedes them, and so it makes them instantly get the attention of the audience just because of who they are. But if who you are doesn't align with the message of what you're saying, nobody's going to pay attention to you, right? Like we wouldn't listen to Hitler give a sermon about loving your neighbor. I mean, come on, right? So you need to be thinking about your who, your ethos, your credibility. Are you a trustworthy person? Is there something in your life right now that if everybody knew about it, it would completely destroy your character, it would completely shipwreck your integrity, and no one would want to listen to a word you say? In other words, are you practicing what you preach? So the second pillar of preaching is the what. This is the message. These are the words that you actually say. This is what Aristotle would call the logos, which is Greek literally for the word. So the question here is, what did the person say? And the real question behind this is clarity. Is what this person said clear? Is their message clear? The audience is saying, do I understand what they are talking about? If you don't have a clear message, it doesn't matter what you say. Nobody's going to listen to you because they don't understand what you are talking about. And this is a big problem with communication a lot of times. You think you're communicating because in your head, everything is clear. Everything is clear as crystal. You know exactly what you're talking about. You're educated on this thing. You've studied this thing for a long time. You've worked on this message. It's clear in here. But the hard thing is to get it out of here and to put it in the head of your audience. That's what's difficult, to be able to transfer this, what's all jumbled around in here, and clearly help your audience see it in a way that they can understand, a way that they can get it as well. So I always say you got to be able to summarize your entire message in a sentence, right? If you can't summarize your message in at least a sentence or two, then you don't know your message clear enough to be able to communicate to somebody else. You should be able to summarize it clearly in a way that anybody can understand what you're talking about. Too many people are jumbled, they're not clear, they don't have a good grasp of the content of their message. And so people walk away and they don't know what it was about. And the third pillar of effective and powerful public speaking is the how. The how. This is what Aristotle would call the pathos of the message. This is a question of how do you say it? So you may have your message, but how do you communicate that message? That makes a big difference. And the real question here is the message delivered in a way that is compelling to the audience? The real how here is, how do you deliver the message? And maybe even deeper and more importantly, how does it make the audience feel? Does it compel them to some sort of emotion? Does it compel them to want to make a change? Is there a sense of urgency where they hear the message and it gets into them and they go, wow, that's something I need to pay attention to. That's something I need to change. If you are going to have an effective talk, an effective message, an effective sermon, there should be some sense of life change or action that you want your audience to take. And if your message doesn't have the how, if you're not compelling in any way, and the audience isn't affected by what you say, they are not going to make that change. So just think about how the way you deliver a message changes the message. So let's just take a simple sentence, a simple message. Let's say we use the sentence, Brandon, he's great. Well, thank you. But say you take that simple sentence, Brandon, he's great. The way you deliver that message makes a big, big difference. Because you could say, Brandon, he's great. And that it comes with the tone of Brandon he's great. We like him. He's awesome, right? Or you could say it in a different way. You could say, Brandon, he's great. And all of a sudden you're going, ooh, that person doesn't really believe what they say. And so the way you deliver your message, you need to get that on point or it won't be compelling. If there's distracting body language, poor eye contact, your tone doesn't match your message, you're nervous and you're shaking, right? If I'm like, Brandon, he's great. I sound like I'm afraid of him, right? I don't sound like I'm confident, like I know what I'm talking about. And so the way you deliver something, and those are just a few examples, but the way you deliver something really changes how compelling, how believable, or just what exactly it is you're communicating, even if you say the exact same words. So let's recap. There are 3 pillars to effective, powerful public speaking or preaching. First, there's the who. Who is the speaker? Are they credible? Why should I listen to this person, right? Who is this person? There's the what. What is it that they are saying? Is it clear? Is it true? Do I understand it? And 3, there's the how. How is that message delivered? And how does it make me feel? Is it compelling? Does it compel me to some sort of emotion or action or change in the way that I think. See, unlike people, your message cannot stand on two legs. Without all three legs, your message is going to fall flat on its back, just like I did when I fell off my stool as a kid. Let's say you have a credible who, you have a compelling how, but you don't have a clear what to your message. That's just entertaining nonsense. You got somebody you're interested in seeing, you believe them, you like this person, you trust this person, he's credible. You have a compelling delivery that engages you, that's interesting, that brings you to some sort of emotion, but there's not a clear message. They're just kind of rambling. It's entertaining, you're engaged, but it's nonsense. You don't understand it because there's no clear message. Let's say that you have a credible who and a clear what, but you don't have the compelling how. That is just a boring lecture. We've all sat in those classes before with that teacher who is just so dull and they're so boring, right? Maybe they're credible. You believe that what that teacher is saying is true. They got it straight out of the book. And the information is clear. They're delivering what they're supposed to teach. They're writing it down on the board. There's a clear message that they're trying to get across, but it's not compelling. There's no emotion to it. The way they deliver it is dry or it's monotone. If you have the who and the what without the how, it's just a boring lecture. So let's say you have a compelling how, a clear what, but you do not have a credible who. That is just an ignorant rant. I gave the example earlier of Hitler preaching a sermon about loving your neighbor, right? That's an ignorant rant. No one's going to believe that. That is not credible. You have to have all three pillars. When you have a credible who, a clear what, and a compelling how, that is the three pillars for a life-changing message. Look at yourself in the mirror. This is my challenge to you. Are you a credible person? Do you have a clear message? And can you deliver it in a compelling way? And if you do that, those three things, you are going to be a powerful public speaker. Your preaching is going to have some serious legs to stand on because you've got the basics down. I hope you find that helpful. I'll see you in the next one.